All right, so the next couple of years are looking pretty packed for horror fans. We're talking everything from creepy indie experiments like Below and Whispers in the Fog to big names returning with full force like Fatal Frame 2 Remake and Resident Evil 9 Requiem. There's cosmic horror, psychological stuff, first-person nightmares, and even a few projects that came out of nowhere but somehow look way too interesting to ignore. So in this video, we're checking out 20 upcoming horror games releasing in coming couple of years that actually seem worth keeping an eye on. So let's get into the list. Agni Village of Calamity is a cinematic survival horror game set to release in 2026, developed by Indonesian indie studio Sapporo Interactive. In this chilling tale, players step into the shoes of Agni, a determined investigator from a covert police unit who defies orders and journeys into a remote Indonesian village shrouded in ominous folklore. What begins as an unauthorized investigation quickly spirals into a descent through psychological horror, where every shadow hides secrets and every silence echoes with dread. Inspired by classic Resident Evil design, the game blends fixed camera perspectives with modern cinematic storytelling, weaving puzzles, exploration, and tense third-person combat into a lore-rich narrative. As Agni uncovers the village's mysteries, she confronts not only supernatural calamities but also the haunting consequences of her own defiance, making survival as much about unraveling truth as escaping terror. Below is an upcoming survival horror adventure set within the depths of Egypt's Great Pyramid, casting players into a haunting descent where history and myth collide. You play as Alex, a young explorer and freelance reporter who ventures into the ruins after a catastrophic excavation collapse, determined to uncover the truth behind the calamity. The game unfolds in a tense, narrative-driven style, blending found footage visuals with claustrophobic exploration, scarce resources, and psychological dread. Each corridor of the pyramid becomes a labyrinth of shadows and whispers, where supernatural forces and the weight of ancient curses press against Alex's fragile resolve. As players navigate the perilous chambers, they must balance survival instincts with investigative curiosity, piecing together fragments of lore while confronting horrors that blur the line between reality and hallucination. Below promises a chilling journey into darkness, where every step deeper into the pyramid risks losing not only life but sanity itself. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is set to be the franchise's first dedicated video game, a survival horror experience developed by Saber Interactive and slated for release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. The narrative follows Aiden, a young man who discovers the Genesis configuration, a puzzle box echoing the infamous Lament configuration, and is thrust into a nightmare when his girlfriend Sunny is dragged into the labyrinth. Players must wield the box's powers to battle cultists, deviants, and grotesque monstrosities while bargaining with Pinhead himself, voiced once again by Doug Bradley. Unlike the films, the game introduces a standalone story, blending exploration, puzzle solving, and brutal combat with supernatural abilities granted by the box. With its emphasis on visceral horror, cinematic presentation, and the promise of such sights to show you, Revival aims to deliver a chilling, interactive descent into Barker's world of pain and pleasure. Crathos Deep is an upcoming cosmic horror narrative adventure from Hitbox Games, planned for release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. The game plunges players into the Arctic abyss, where you pilot a submarine and deploy expeditionary drones to explore bioluminescent caverns, alien structures, and the ruins of a lost research institute. Its story revolves around unraveling the unsettling mystery of the Institute's downfall, blending Lovecraftian horror with psychological tension. The developers emphasize atmosphere and immersion, with environments that feel alive and hostile, pushing players to confront both external threats and the creeping dread of isolation. Combat is secondary to exploration and puzzle solving, as survival depends on resource management, deciphering cryptic clues, and resisting the lure of forbidden knowledge. With its mix of sci-fi survival horror, underwater exploration, and narrative-driven mystery, Crathos Deep promises a descent into darkness where every discovery carries the weight of terror.
In ancient Greece, the brightest minds thought that disease was caused by liquid imbalance. For the longest time, we thought that the universe revolved around us. You may discover things down here that clash with your view of the world, things you like to dismiss or distance yourself from. If, or rather when, that happens, I must simply urge you to keep an open mind. Just remember, questioning preconceived notions is what science.
Crisol Theater of Idols is a first-person horror action-adventure from Vermilla Studios and Blumhouse Games, set to release in 2026 for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. In this nightmarish reimagining of Spain, players step into the role of Gabriel, a soldier who wields his own blood as both weapon and lifeline. Drawn to the cursed island of Tormentosa, Gabriel must uncover the disappearance of the sun god while navigating a world where folklore and religion intertwine in terrifying ways. Statues of saints come alive as grotesque enemies, sacred rituals twist into deadly puzzles, and every drop of blood sacrificed becomes both ammunition and survival. The game blends atmospheric exploration with visceral combat, forcing players to balance courage and desperation as they descend deeper into Hispania's haunted theater of idols. With its cinematic storytelling and chilling mechanics, Crisol promises a journey where faith, sacrifice, and horror collide in unforgettable fashion.
May ascend to you. Consumed in your flames for all eternity, now and forever. Crisol.
Drowned Lake is an upcoming Brazilian folklore-inspired horror game currently in development, with a public playtest available on Steam. The game is set deep in Brazil's coastal forests, where the titular lake is surrounded by sinister legends, many who trespass never return. The narrative begins when a young student named Bento goes missing, drawing three strangers, a firefighter, a journalist, and an elderly fisherman, into the mystery. Players explore the lake by boat, using tools like a fishing rod to collect evidence, while solving puzzles in first-person adventure segments. The gameplay emphasizes non-linear storytelling, with each perspective offering unique insights into the unfolding curse. Choices and even the amount of noise you make affect danger levels, as supernatural threats lurk beneath the waters. Developed by Monumental Collab and published by Critical Reflex, Drowned Lake blends investigative mechanics with survival horror, creating a tense atmosphere where folklore, mystery, and fear converge. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake, is a full reimagining of the beloved 2003 survival horror classic, set to release on March 12, 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. In this chilling retelling, players once again follow twin sisters Mio and Mayu Amakura as they wander into a cursed, abandoned village haunted by restless spirits. Armed only with the Camera Obscura, a mystical device capable of capturing and repelling wraiths, the sisters must uncover the dark rituals that bind the village while confronting their own fragile bond. The remake enhances the original with modern visuals, immersive sound design, and refined controls, while introducing new mechanics such as the ability to hold Mayu's hand, deepening the emotional tension of protecting her through the nightmare. Every encounter with spectral foes becomes a test of courage and sacrifice, as the Crimson Butterflies guide players deeper into a tale of sorrow, memory, and supernatural terror. Ferocious is a survival first-person shooter launching December 4th, 2025 on PC via Steam, developed by Omen and published by Tiny Build. In this adrenaline-fueled adventure, players awaken stranded on a savage, uncharted island where mercenaries, dinosaurs, and mechs clash within a vibrant yet hostile ecosystem. You step into the role of San, a refugee driven by the desperate mission to rescue his brother, navigating lush jungles, ancient ruins, and treacherous cliffs while crafting weapons and gear from scarce resources. Every encounter is a test of survival, as apex predators stalk the shadows and human enemies exploit the chaos. The island itself feels alive. Its dangers can be turned to your advantage if you adapt quickly, using terrain and wildlife as tools in your fight. Ferocious blends cinematic exploration with fast-paced combat, promising a journey where courage, strategy, and instinct are the only things keeping you from becoming prey in a world that refuses to forgive weakness. The upcoming game Hunger is a grimdark PvPvE extraction RPG set in plague-ravaged Napoleonic Europe, currently in development by Good Fun Corporation with early access planned for PC in 2025. Unlike traditional shooters, Hunger blends brutal melee and ranged combat with long-term character progression, questing, and crafting. Players scavenge ruined cities and battle both supernatural horrors and rival mercenaries, creating a tense mix of survival horror and competitive extraction gameplay. The setting is steeped in alternate history, where war has devastated Europe, but something far worse now grips the continent: unnatural forces that thrive in chaos. Every mission demands resource management and tactical decision-making, as noise, combat style, and alliances can determine whether you escape with loot or perish in the fog of war. With its cross-platform online multiplayer, Hunger aims to carve out a unique niche by fusing the intensity of extraction shooters with the atmosphere of horror RPGs, promising a relentless experience where survival is never guaranteed. Ill is a brutal first-person survival horror game from Team Clout, published by Mundfish Powerhouse, currently in development for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Set within a decaying fortress overtaken by a mysterious entity, the game thrusts players into a relentless nightmare where grotesque monsters stalk every corridor. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, Ill emphasizes hyper-realistic physics and a grisly dismemberment system, making every encounter disturbingly visceral. The atmosphere is thick with dread, blending body horror and psychological tension as players scavenge for resources, solve environmental puzzles, and fight to survive against unpredictable abominations. Its cinematic presentation and haunting sound design aim to challenge even seasoned horror fans, pushing them into a world where reality fractures under the weight of terror. With its focus on immersion and uncompromising brutality, Ill promises to be one of the most unsettling horror experiences of the decade. Inferius is a newly announced first-person psychological horror deck builder from Lucid Rain Studios, planned for release on PC via Steam in 2026. The game blends Dante's Inferno-inspired descent into hell with Lovecraftian horror, casting players as a pilgrim, damned, marked, and lost in a realm that reflects forgotten sins. Armed only with a lantern and a growing deck of tarot-inspired major arcana cards, you must survive the 9 dominions of hell, each ruled by grotesque entities shaped by sin and fear. Gameplay emphasizes roguelike progression. You'll build and refine your deck, die often, and return stronger, facing surreal environments and psychological challenges that blur reality. The developers highlight a mix of turn-based strategy, card battler mechanics, and immersive first-person exploration, ensuring tension between tactical planning and raw survival. With its stylized visuals and narrative-driven descent, Inferius promises a haunting journey where every card drawn could mean salvation or damnation.
Opponent of worth, you must brave each ruler's dominion and the dread within. Wield the cards, deploy the wards. These are your sole infernal weapons, nothing more. I've seen many pilgrims fall, but you shall fly.
Liminal Point is an upcoming psychological survival horror game developed by Hideworks, inspired by classic Resident Evil style design. The story follows Lyra, a once rising rock star who returns to Ashen Point, a fog-shrouded island tied to her band's tragic past. Drawn there by a cryptic voicemail, she must confront deadly creatures, explore abandoned towns, and uncover the truth behind the night that changed everything. The game emphasizes fixed camera angles, tense exploration, and puzzle solving, paying homage to 1990s survival horror while modernizing visuals and atmosphere with Unreal Engine. Combat is deliberately slow and methodical, forcing players to manage scarce resources while navigating environments that blur the line between nightmare and reality. With its blend of psychological tension, mutated monstrosities, and cinematic storytelling, Liminal Point aims to deliver a chilling experience that resonates with fans of old-school horror while carving its own identity.
And so do I. I'll be waiting, so come and find me.
Menace is an upcoming sci-fi tactical RPG from Hooded Horse and developer Overhype Studios, slated for release in 2026 on PC. In this grim tale, players command a ragtag mercenary company sent to a distant frontier world plagued by chaos and corruption. What begins as a contract for survival quickly spirals into a desperate struggle against alien horrors, rogue factions, and the weight of moral choices that shape the fate of entire colonies. Inspired by the tactical depth of Battle Brothers, Menace blends squad-based combat with resource management, forcing you to balance loyalty, greed, and survival as every decision ripples through your company's story. The planet itself becomes a living battlefield, its hostile terrain and unpredictable encounters demanding strategy and sacrifice. As your mercenaries grow, falter, or perish, the narrative unfolds dynamically, ensuring no two campaigns are alike, each a brutal chronicle of ambition, betrayal, and resilience in a universe where menace lurks behind every shadow. OD is an upcoming psychological horror game from Hideo Kojima, developed in partnership with Xbox Game Studios and powered by Unreal Engine 5. The project, shrouded in mystery, is described as an experimental narrative experience that blurs the line between gaming and cinematic storytelling. Rather than focusing on traditional combat, OD explores the concept of fear itself, immersing players in surreal scenarios where reality fractures and emotions become the true battleground. Kojima has teased that the game will feature advanced cloud technology, allowing for unique interactive elements that evolve beyond the screen. With a cast including Sophia Lillis, Hunter Schafer, and Udo Kier, the narrative promises to be unsettling, weaving psychological tension with haunting performances. OD is not just a horror game, it's a study of dread, perception, and the human psyche, designed to challenge players in ways they've never experienced before. Reanimal is an upcoming co-op horror adventure from Tarsier Studios, the creators of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, scheduled to release on February 13th, 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. The game casts players as a brother and sister who must traverse a hellish island to rescue their missing friends. Exploration unfolds both on land and by boat, with environmental puzzles, stealth, and survival mechanics shaping the journey. Much like Little Nightmares, the world is hauntingly beautiful yet grotesque, filled with twisted scenery and horrifying enemies that embody fragments of the children's past. The narrative emphasizes horror with hope, as the siblings' bond becomes central to enduring the nightmare. Designed for co-op play, Reanimal also offers a solo mode where AI controls the second character, ensuring accessibility. Published by THQ Nordic, the game builds on Tarsier's signature style of unsettling atmosphere, thought-provoking storytelling, and surreal imagery, promising a darker, more terrifying journey than their previous works. Resident Evil 9 Requiem is the next mainline survival horror entry from Capcom, releasing February 27, 2026 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Windows, and Nintendo Switch 2. Set 30 years after the destruction of Raccoon City, the game introduces a new protagonist, FBI agent Grace Ashcroft, daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak. Grace is dispatched to investigate a string of mysterious deaths at a hotel, but her mission spirals into a descent through the ruins of Raccoon City, where echoes of Umbrella's past linger and familiar faces may return. Powered by the RE engine, Requiem emphasizes psychological dread over action, with smarter stalker enemies, cinematic storytelling, and a renewed focus on fear. As Grace uncovers the city's secrets, she must confront both the legacy of bioterror and the fragile bonds of survival, making Requiem a chilling continuation of the saga that redefines horror for a new generation.
Grace, stay close to me.
I'm coming!
Keep moving.
What's wrong?
I'll explain later.
I've been watching you. You're not like other people, you know. You're quite unique.
Tell me what's going on.
Something important.
Mom, I'm scared.
Grace. They're coming.
There's no escaping your destiny.
The Florist is a newly announced survival horror game from Unclear Games set to release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch 2. The story follows Jessica Park, who arrives in the lakeside town of Joycliff just as it begins to descend into madness. What starts as a simple delivery spirals into a desperate fight for survival against rapidly evolving monstrous enemies and an ominous floral overgrowth that consumes the town. Inspired by genre classics, the game uses fixed camera angles and handcrafted environments, but modernizes the formula with autosave checkpoints, multiple difficulty options, and a wide arsenal of weapons to even the odds. Players will solve intricate puzzles, uncover dark secrets, and confront a mysterious plan to create new life in the most inhuman way imaginable. With its blend of classic survival horror atmosphere and modern mechanics, The Florist promises a chilling, story-driven descent into a town where beauty and terror bloom side by side. The Mound. Omen of Cthulhu is a co-op survival horror game inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's novella The Mound, developed by Ace Team and published by Nacon, releasing in summer 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. This upcoming title thrusts players into the 16th century New World, where squads of 2 to 4 explorers set out from their galleon to uncover a legendary underground city said to hold priceless treasures. Each mission begins with preparation, choosing weapons, equipment, and strategies, before venturing into cursed jungles filled with monstrous creatures, hallucinations, and reality-warping phenomena. The game emphasizes teamwork, proximity voice chat, and psychological tension, as paranoia and madness can fracture alliances mid-expedition. Survival requires staying clear-headed, solving environmental challenges, and resisting the lure of unimaginable riches, while the jungle itself seems alive, eager to consume intruders. With its blend of Lovecraftian horror, FPS co-op action, and treasure hunting exploration, The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu promises a chilling descent into madness where every choice could mean salvation or eternal damnation. Valor Mortis is an upcoming Napoleonic-era first-person Souls-like action RPG from One More Level, releasing in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. The game casts you as a fallen soldier of Napoleon's army, resurrected in a plague-ravaged Europe, where supernatural horrors stalk the night. Armed with both swords and eerie powers, you must battle grotesque enemies while unraveling a conspiracy that threatens humanity itself. Gameplay emphasizes brutal melee combat, resource management, and atmospheric exploration, blending historical settings with dark fantasy. Recent trailers, including the Crimson Plague Showcase, highlight tense battles in foggy villages, where every encounter feels like a duel between life and death. Announced at Gamescom 2025, the game has already drawn praise for its cinematic style and haunting world-building. With its mix of Souls-like difficulty, alternate history, and horror elements, Valor Mortis promises a relentless journey through war, plague, and the supernatural. Whispers in the Fog is an upcoming first-person psychological horror game from solo developer Pasquale Cianti, revealed during the Future Games Show 2025. The game strands players in a dense, fog-shrouded forest with no map, no clear direction, and only the unsettling whispers that echo through the mist to guide or mislead them. Survival depends on keen observation, listening carefully to the voices, and piecing together fragments of the mystery while resisting paranoia. The core gameplay emphasizes exploration, atmosphere, and psychological tension rather than combat, creating a sense of vulnerability and dread. Each step deeper into the forest reveals strange phenomena and hidden truths, blurring the line between hallucination and reality. With its minimalist design and focus on immersion, Whispers in the Fog aims to deliver a haunting experience where the environment itself becomes the antagonist, and the whispers may hold either salvation or doom. And that's the list. If any of these horror games end up on your wish list, let me know which ones you're waiting for the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.